Hello there, Crackbook and Tweets and YouTube and any other platform that may or may not see this. So anyway, I have just had an absolute fast trying to sort the other laptop out to come on to live. It won't let me put Google Chrome in. So I've just wasted a fucking hour of my time trying to sort out Google Chrome that just won't go in at all. So today is Dump It, Do It, Delegate It day for me. And it's been a really, really interesting week for me because one of the things I always talk about is energy and frequency. And hello there, Deborah. And who you have around you enters into your energy, your frequency, and your zone. And who you collaborate with and who you spend your time with is so damn important, because if those two energies and frequencies are different, then it just causes static. And I spent a lot of time yesterday back in my old videos with people who are awesome, watching kids and adults that do absolutely amazing things, people that just go beyond, you know, enormousy capabilities. Hello there, Maria. And it reminded me why it's so important that I get back to my own zone, my own frequency, my own energy, and how much making the decision to do what I do within Step Up Britain, not to take any of you personally, any person who is in this zone is not in my immediate inner circle. That is two very, very, very different things. My personal life, as much as I talk about certain structures in my personal life, is not the same as my career life, my business life, my social media life, and obviously my campaigning. And the fact that I spoke out in 2013 about Aaron and Faith being taken, my social media has totally changed. Like, my energy has totally changed. The people around me has totally changed. I don't have anybody really in my life who was in my life prior to Aaron and Faith, and I'm finding this adjustment to not knowing where the fuck I am right now, with who the fuck is around me, who the fuck are these people, where the fuck has my life gone, and what the fuck happened. And I still live in that dissonance of waking up every day to a parallel universe than the one that I know that I should truly be working in and stepping in and being in. When I made the decision to do what I did in 2007, which is actually when I made the decision, sort of moving further into 2008, I've talked on previous lives about Joe Medforth. He was a lad who had his head stamped on in Preston, who came to Preston University to study. He was one of our students. And I say our because I was course rep, department rep and faculty rep. I wanted the job done, so I took all three positions until it was done. And this is the challenge. If you want to get a job done, they say you have to do it yourself. Now, that is not actually true. I started my live over on YouTube earlier on, and I wrote in the title, Dump It, Do It, Delegate It. It's Sunday. Anybody who knows me, Sunday is a day of cleansing. Sunday is a day of cleaning the house. It's the day of getting everything in order, ready for a new week, which actually starts on Sunday, not Monday. The working week starts on a Monday. For all you slaves, unless you're doing what you love and you're in purpose living driven life, which is what I'm all about. And this is what I'm sort of getting to. I need to do a massive Dump It, Do It, Delegate It. I have every intentions of still taking every person who's in the same boat as me's case into this class action, but I cannot have immediate direct contact with so many people. Like, don't take it personally. To you who's taking it personally, you're one person, but what you forget is that's thousands around me, and I can't cope with that. As you know, I'm diagnosed with Asperger's. Whether you understand that or not is not my problem. If you invade my privacy and you end up meeting the roaring lion that goes bang, if you don't understand autism, that's your problem, not mine. I'm not here to make reasonable adjustments for people. If people want to be in my life, they're here to make legal readjustments for me. And when I live with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, something that is very, very, very important to me is keeping as much structure, as much routine, and as much scheduling as possible. When you're dealing with grief and depression and trauma, that is not so easy. And I need to move forward even further with my own healing. And a lot of people don't realize that they're in trauma. And, you know, if I have always said, if I had been at a hospital, Milo Hospital, where my children had taken, and if I had just somebody impersonating being a police officer and somebody impersonating being a social worker walk in and take my children, the news would be all over it. Like, the media would be all over it. The police would be all over it. Every person in the world would understand the grieving mother and father and family who have just had their children kidnapped, just gone, just missing like that. And as I've said, at the same time that I was in court, my friend and personal friend, Karen, was all over the media because Daniel had gone missing. And Daniel was my two older boys' babysitter, knew Elijah and Shiloh, Aaron and Faith really well. His daughter played with my two younger children because it was the grandparent of my friend, and Daniel was my babysitter to my two previous boys. In fact, we also lost Rob as well. We lost 5 of our closest friends during this time. I just don't think that people could understand or deal with what's just happened, and people trying to get up and get on with their normal everyday life, just thinking. And for somebody who's been through what I've been through, you know the difficulty of just waking up in the morning and going, oh, what a beautiful day it is. Wow, amazing. Okay, make sure you're doing stuff, because you don't. You wake up with this tension, with this anxiety, with this urgency, with this where the fuck are my children, with this dissonance as your brain splits of the two parallel universes. And for a lot of people, it can be too much the moment they wake up, and they will either just go back to sleep, they will sleep their day out, they will use TV as a suppressant, as a numbner, as something that they can try to zone in while they live in a parallel universe, sort of looking at the TV, sort of taking that information in. But the reality is they're somewhere very much different in their own mind, and actually maybe even have memories of their children going on and trying to block them, or trying to picture where their children may be, with who they are, what situations in, and trying to block that. Dealing with the fact that our children were created within us, which means our DNA and our structures is exactly the same as the children per the father. And we have this, this innate connection to bond to our children, and we have to wake up with that in turmoil every morning. It doesn't go away. It isn't something that you can learn to control, because the only way you can control it is to understand it. And it's not something that you can do very easily, because for somebody like us to go for therapy, they want an end result, they want a healing. So therefore, it's either you have to accept that your children were taken, you have to accept that your children are gone, you have to accept everything that happened, and you have to stay silent, and therefore you can't talk about it. We live in a society at the moment that is completely and utterly fucking gaslighting you, me, your next door fucking neighbour, your mum, your dad, your uncles and your aunts. Whether you believe it or not, you are under mind control. That is going on around you all the time. And this is why your own frequency is so important, because it can take so long to even find it, because it's like covered in so much shit. Other people's energy, other people's baggage, other people's belief systems, other people's thinkings, other people's processes, other people's things of telling you how you can or cannot be. And then you have to live in this box of, even though you're trying to do something, you're trying to push into another direction, it's like going up a fucking river current going the wrong way, because you've got everybody telling you can't do this, you can't do that, you shouldn't do this, that's not the right thing for you to do. Oh, I don't like that. Prime example, the other day, Dean was with me when we went to the shop, and I have this with my mother as well, and I saw a camera shop, wow, me and cameras is just like being, I watch every person who walks past and I look at their camera, what camera they've got, whether it's the right camera. I want to know everything about that camera because I'm on a mission with what I want to do with the camera. It's my art, it's my creation, it's my expression. I've always had a camera all the way through my life, but it's never ever been to the pixels or pixelations of the level that I need to blow these pictures up and exhibit them. And to take that away from somebody like me is like taking their identity away from them. It may be a camera, it may be a physical tool, but without that tool, you can't fulfill the role that you want to achieve. And the end result is obviously, you know, pictures, memories, blah, blah, blah. I'm all about memories in the middle, you know, sunrise, sunset, memories in the middle. It's what I stand for, it's what I'm about, it's what I enjoy, it's what I love doing. And creating that in a visual way, because everything in the world is all paperwork and I'm a very visual person. I love films, I love videos, I love, you know, the contrast of a beginning, a middle and an end. And I find the world very difficult because there's so much confusion and so many people live in a dogmatic way, and that makes life very false for somebody like me. It means every person I speak to is a false version of themselves, and that gets really difficult. I can see their potential, I can see their aura, I can see their energy, I can see what's, you know, demons are crippling them. I can physically actually see that. That's why I like Crackbook. I like that you guys are not sat in front of me, and I like that I don't do workshops and seminars at the moment because I'm too fragile for other people's energies and traumas at this particular point in my life. And the reason is because it exhausts me, because you have to be a complete empty vessel in order to deal with other people's demons and traumas. And that's what it is. It's demons and traumas, whether you want to believe that or not. That's what you're dealing with. We as human beings will move between pain and pleasure. And if we don't move in between this pain and pleasure, therefore we get stuck in a void. We get stuck in this nomad sort of existence. And something that is very, very, very important to me is to achieve my daily schedule. And that's really important for somebody like me to, one, achieve and have a concrete thing of achieving something. I was watching this video the other day, and it's this 10-year-old skater. She is fucking amazing, and I'm trying to connect up to young children, young entrepreneur stuff because of Elijah and Shiloh, so we can live this life rather than going into the education system where they'll be told to sit down, shut up and do as told. And this is what I'm talking about, that dogma of being your own true essence of you. Not what your mum wanted you to be, not what your dad wanted you to be, not what school groomed you to be, not what the environment or the media or your friends, because they were convenient friends, or because your cousin had something or did something, but your own true essence of you. Of you, not of them, of you. And in order to be able to get that, that's why I like immersions. That's why I like going away once a year, sometimes 4 times a year. I like seasons. I like to immerse myself into mastering me. Not mastering you, not controlling you, but mastering me. But, you know, to be of my best physical body health, to be of my best mental state of mind, to be 100% in true soul spirit, and to obtain and work on that on an everyday basis. That's why I love waking up every day with a complete, you know, you know, clean slate, which is very, 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 very difficult to do when you are living with the residuals of the 13th of December 2012 and every day and every milestone that's ever come onto it. In fact, tomorrow is another anniversary. Tomorrow is the anniversary of my committal to prison, where, you know, where I turned up at a court that got vacated. Tomorrow is literally that day, and from tomorrow I'm going to be over on YouTube, and I'm going to be breaking my gag all week, and I'm going to be hammering at my gagging order. I am going to display my gagging order, because I had 2 police officers at my door yesterday, right? Sort of subliminally letting me know that I could be set up. They came about a guy who goes to the food bank, who I stood my ground with at the food bank because of the way he spoke to me. Yeah, you can have a banana, darling. Do you want to grab one?
I'm not.
Oh, you're just saying hello?
Nana.
You want a nana? Hang on 2 seconds, just banana. Are you going to go and speak to Daddy? Because Mummy needs to finish this and then I'll come free. You should be asleep. And this is what I mean by frequency. An absolute disaster. We were told to stay in our homes. We were told not to go into London. Google it, 28th of October 2013. It was in the media. 2 seconds, Dean, let's look up. This is another thing that's out of my true frequency. Do you know how long it took me to clear the mucus off my chest of getting this shit out of my life? What do you want? Oh. And shit like this that just creates absolute mucus and mayhem on my chest. And I know that it is not good for my physical body, yet I continue to keep doing it because I'm so out of that energy and frequency that I have for waking up in the morning to start sunrise, sunset and memories in the middle. And to be in that frequency, what that trauma does, like when I wake up tomorrow will not just be a new October day, it will be the residual of last year, the year before, and the year before that. It's like a death, you know, when somebody dies, you live in that constant energy and residual of that trauma, of that energy. Every year and the lead up to it, you will feel the emotions and you will feel the pain. I tell Elijah and Shiloh, as I've told all my children, when they start crying, control it. Control that emotion. And they go, and I go, right, control it, change your physical state. And they'll go, yes, you know. And they are aware, my children are aware that they are in control of their emotions. They can master their emotions. What annoys me about this entire fucking world, and I'm not going to be able to step up Britain, there's no way that things are going to go viral. I am on absolute lockdown. I am locked down on my social media. I am locked down on my laptop. I am locked down by the security and the perimeters of the zone where I live in. And it is very, very difficult to move in your own frequency and your own energy when you are constantly in reaction and residual of everybody else. Yeah. And say it's like getting up and going to school. Okay, or actually take a prison for a prime example. Prison would be a better example. So say literally you are laying in your bed and you're thinking, oh, it's not quite as comfortable as I know my bed could be. And then you roll over and you hear the squeaks of the prison bed, and then you start coming out of that dream state where you're starting to think about all the things that you've got to do and want to be doing and all of them things. And then all of a sudden you wake up and you realize that you are in these four walls with this door, with people telling you what time you can go to the toilet, what time you can leave your cell, what time you can do this and what job you've got to do that day. And then you have to get up at the time that they say and go to bed at the time that they say. You eat when they tell you to, and you have to clear out when you're told to. And that is exactly the same as waking up constantly in other people's energy and other people's frequency. It's exactly the same thing. It's a prison. It becomes a prison in your own mind. It becomes a prison and it becomes a resistance because you're trying to get up and you're trying to, so take music, okay? Take me and Dean, for example. It doesn't make us bad people. It just means we're in a one-bedroom flat and it's very difficult to deal with. Dean has been in a very reggae music mood and I've been in a very violin music mode, and we've ended up having to go into our headphones with each other to try to respect each other's zones and space. And I've had a kick-off today because Dean's been playing quite heavy with the music and I've been trying to move the kids into settling them down to go for their sleep. Elijah is up, and then that will change the whole frequency and the whole time of what time he goes to bed later on. And the fact that I no longer go to the park as well, because he's used to the fact that at 4 o'clock we go to the park and then literally we are in by sort of 6:45. They're in the bath. It used to be 6:30, sorry, but the park now remains open until 7:15, which made my life a little bit more difficult. And having that sort of routine. Why? Because it's very important for me to have my time in the evening. Of course it is. You know, people forget mum and dad, now and granddad, are people. They are. And I did a book with somebody back in 2010. And it was about the identity of the mother and the father, where the children should actually know the true essence of their parents. Should they just know them as dad and mum and their roles as dad and mum, or should they actually know the person behind it and the identification of that person? Should they be part of their lives? Because within a family dynamics, it doesn't really cross over. Man goes to work, woman maybe goes to work or stays at home. Their lives don't interconnect during that time. There might be a phone call, but they are living two parallel different lives and aren't part of those memories or understanding or those relationships of those two people. And it's very difficult to get an understanding of what that is. But if you're then trying to do that in your own home, and you're trying to wake up in your own home and two people work from home, you've got to deal, and then the energy of those children, which is why it's very important that each individual has their own identity. Without that, then people just don't grow and thrive. And it just, how people with loads of children, able to tailor to each individual needs. There's going to be somebody that's sacrificing for somebody else. There's going to be somebody always living in the shadow of somebody else because they might be better skilled at something that they do, or they might have more time, or there might be more investment, or there might be more support around that because they are good at it. And take Elijah and Shiloh, for example. Shiloh is exceptional at sports. Elijah not so. So Elijah will always fall into the shadows, but you can't do that because he's exceptional to his own standard. Just because he's probably not going to go pro in that area, Shiloh isn't necessarily going to be an academic. Elijah will be. And you can't force somebody to be something that they're not, which is why we have so much mental health in this country, why we have so much depression, why we have such a high suicide rate, and why there is so much confusion going on. Because one, you're being gaslighted by your own fucking country, by your own system around you, and being manipulated to be herded in like sheep, to do as you're told, to conform to the ways of the world. Then you've got the people who are in resistance of that, who are causing absolute anarchy and mayhem because they're fighting up against that, but they're not actual warriors. And we're going up against a queen who's got 33,000 army, 22,000 with navy and arm, all of that. So put in a compass, and then of course she's got 50,000 that are on reserves that she can call back at any particular point. Anybody who's got a husband on reserves or wife on reserve at the moment, let us know when you get that call, because as soon as you guys get called in, I know what's going on. I know my ex-husband's on reserve lists as well, so he's going to let me know if he gets called in. So at the end of the day, for me, it's really important for me to remember that I made a decision to understand where community spirit went. Now, obviously, I've got my own traumas with that, because when my dad and my ex-stepmom divorced, I lost my entire fucking identity. I lost everything. I lost my family. I lost my community. I lost my football, my skates, my pens, pencils, my calligraphy set, my NatWest piggy bank, little piggy doo-dah stuff, and the little things that, my Enid Blyton books and all of that sort of stuff. It was gone. It went. And then even worse, when I was living with my dad and his new partner, who he's married to, she burnt everything, mate. She got rid of all of my stepmom's photographs. I went skits. That was the day I moved back in with my mum, because she told my dad I had to go. I went skits. I came home from school and literally I could see this round photograph that I know that used to be in my frame in my bedroom. And I saw it on the floor with all of my mum's photographs, all of the stuff of me with my brother. And because I rescued it, she tried taking it off me. And I was like, no, you're not fucking doing this to me. You can fuck off, you little... And I should say I do like Debbie, but, she was a 23-year-old with my dad, for God's sake. 21, 22. She was a kid with my dad who'd just come in, taken my entire fucking life over, changed the trainers that I wore. I didn't have any of my identity, nothing in my home, nothing around me, none of my cousins that I saw every Saturday. None of this around me. And I was in a whole school without any of my friends that I'd grown up with from the age of 3 all the way through. They all went to Mill Chase and I went to Boham. I was back still with the guy, my stepfather, who kept, wanted to tweak me tits, stick-a-doos, do what he needs to do and all of that sort of stuff. But when you find yourself completely alone, what it does is it gets you to reach inside yourself. It gets you to go to a higher plane. And I haven't had my mum and dad around me in the way that a normal child should. In fact, my mum really fucking pissed me off the other day because she actually sent me an email and goes, I don't know what the problem was. I was diagnosed when you were 15. And it's like, so you let me suffer. And do you know what she actually said to me, too? Well, you were old enough to do your own research. Wow. So she let me suffer until I was 23, which actually nearly cost me 2 of my children, caused me hemorrhaging, and caused me lots of aggro. And all of the stuff that she says that I was abusing her about is all the stuff that she neglected me over. Get with a fucking program, get over yourself. But I have come to a really great place in my life now. And it's taken me a long time to get there because I have always had this expectation, this dream and this creation and this illusion that I'm going to get to sit down and have Christmas dinner with my family, and I'm going to be invited to, you know, my cousin's weddings. And you know, I don't even want to cry because I will. Every time I see a family event posted up, I'll get suicidal. I nearly killed myself after my sister's funeral, wedding, for fuck's sake. And then she was only literally a stone throw from me, and my family couldn't even be asked to tell me my sister was getting married. And what annoys me in all of this stuff, what I have dealt with in my whole life, is rumours. And I have never had people around me who actually truly know me, know my essence. The people that know that I can sit there at night time with a pencil and a sketch pad and draw what it is that I can see. And why I've always got a dark mode here, because I smudge it as I'm drawing. You know, people who know that I get my pens and my paints out and I do what I do. And nobody in my family can tell you anything about this about me. They can't. They probably couldn't even tell you what my eye colour was if they could slightly remember. So I've always pushed for family, for other people, because I've always been the one at school that's helping the kid at school understand why she can't go to her dad's and what her mum's doing, blah, 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 blah. And being in mediation with people who are going through separation and divorce, sort of thinking, you know, at the end of the day, is this something you can resolve? Is this just a glitch? You know, one thing I'll give my family, apart from my parents, one thing I'll give my family is my family have got long-term stable relationships. Yes, there might have been one cuff in it, but the relationships that they're in, you know, are long-standing. Fuck knows how long my Uncle John and Auntie Terry have been together. I don't even know the sentence anything other than John and Terry. I don't know them as my aunts and uncles, you know. I don't get invited into that world. It's not my life anymore, even though I went there every Saturday as a kid, every other Saturday because I was at my mum's, but I went there every Saturday. You know, my birthday parties as a kid, you know, had my whole fucking community, my cousins and everything, to I've not had a birthday since, you know, I haven't. And Christmases, I haven't had that. I haven't had that since I was 11. I haven't had my Father's Days, my Mother's Days, my every holiday that exists. So that's an illusion that I have to remove now, because I'm not going to have my aunties ringing me up and saying, hey, we've got a barbecue on a Saturday. Do you want to bring the kids up? That's just not going to happen. And it doesn't matter how many times I focus on my end result. The reality is some families are just traumatized too much. The curse on their family is not in the bloodline that exists now. It can be previous to that. And people don't realize that there are such things as family curses, individual curses. They always get cursed on the family. People don't realize that there are actually suppressions of certain families. Why the fuck would government want me to rise up as a granddaughter's lord? Why would they want that to happen? They would constantly beat somebody like me down because my bloodline is not a peasant. You know, well, actually it is to a certain state, because my nan was a lord. My nan was my nan. I still don't know the ins and outs of all this, and this is where it annoys me, because my dad is doing this research. My cousin on my other side of my family is doing this research. We should be doing this together. You know, this should be a family thing, you know. And what's really annoying is my family is even more fragmented than it has ever been in my life now, because Liam is down the road. He's got his day off today. He's probably sleeping because he works literally 6 days a week, and as well as doing an extra job, you know, he's got his day off. And you know, my son's moving forward with his life, and my 2 boys can't handle the trauma of seeing Elijah and Shiloh and it not being Aaron and Faith. and that's what that has created. I can't change that. I can't take that trauma away from them, that they cannot accept that I've got two other children. My two boys can't accept that. They cannot get their heads around that I have two other children, and they will never. Aaron and Faith cannot be replaced. They love them, they adore them, they will always be kind, and they know that they are their brothers, but it's never going to be the same. They will never have the relationship that they had with Aaron and Faith. People have seen the photographs of my kids with their siblings, and you know, and Faith would cry when Daniel would go to school, grabbing hold of him because she would want to keep him at home. She was that close to him. The moment he walked through the door, that was it. She was up there. She was straight with Daniel. And Aaron out with Liam, skateboarding, hanging around with him and his mates, you know, from literally day dot. My children were at the hospital holding their brother and their sister, and not one of my family members have ever actually stood up for me and my children. We battled this alone. Yes, they watch me. Yes, they interact. Yes, they talk to other people about what they think is going on or not going on. I've only ever had one of my aunties actually from day one all the way through this, from being on Daybreak to it going out in the media. My cousin actually punched somebody the day I went out in the media because they dissed something about me. God bless my cousin Daniel's soul. You know, he was picking up the papers. Someone made a comment about me. He said, "That's my cousin." Bang. You know, and my auntie has watched and been through all of that. But everybody else has always taken their own opinions. When I said to my mum, well, actually, don't look at the Daily Mail article, look at the actual article in the Chorley Guardian, because the Daily Mail article was a spin-off of it all and had nothing to do with what I said. It was just the Daily Mail, you know, being cunts with Chris Maguire, who was the editor of the Daily Mail previously to becoming the editor of the Chorley Guardian. So when he blocked the Daily Mail from speaking to me because of his own issues with the Daily Mail, and he was right, he said they will twist your whole story, Kelly. They will turn it into all about benefits. They will remove it from what it was truly about. And this is what I'm talking about. I need to be in line with who I am. And the challenge with that is I have to accept that I am alone in this world, with the Lord as my saviour, and that will always be. Mother Earth and the universe always works in co-symbioticness with me. But I will not be getting married next year with my dad, you know, giving me away, and my mum, and me and Dean will argue about this, so to the point that we'll probably never actually get married, because I refuse to get married without my dad giving me away, and I refuse to get married without, you know, actual family and friends. Yes, I know I did it when I was 17 and 21, but it, you know, I came straight out of fucking foster care. You know, I wasn't in my mum's life at that particular time. My mum just wanted to show off to family and friends that she lived in a nice big house with lots of acres, and offered to, you know, have my wedding sort of thing there, just so she could poke my dad in the eye that she lived in a nice house and a nice car, and she could have one over. And that's the only reason. It wasn't for any other reason than that. That was just it. So yeah, so it is literally about being 100% in your true essence. Hello there, darling. Elijah. Sorry, darling?
I get some sick for Daddy.
What do you want to get?
I get some sick for Daddy.
Yeah, you go and give that to Daddy?
Okay, Daddy, because it's sick.
I don't know why it's sick. It's germ stuff. You know, Elijah and Shiloh is an extension of me, just as Liam and Daniel and Faith, you know, is an extension of me. That is part of my identity, but it's not who I am. They will grow up to have their own identities, their own lives, their own families. In my life, when it's important, Mum's birthday, things like that, they should all come together. But it will never be like that, because they're resistance. I've always said it's like you either live with a magnet that comes together, or you live with a magnet that repels away. And sometimes when you want something so bad, you will actually propel it away from you. And I am aware that I cannot fix the damage that was caused to me through the ages of that time, and I cannot repair the fact that none of my family noticed that. They all knew there was something wrong with me. They just couldn't put their finger on what is wrong, and they have never actually looked at what is right with me. It was so nice to see my cousin Kevin come on the other day and go, "Hi, you know, hey, cuz, you know, rooting for you. You know, that was really sweet. That was really nice. And everybody needs that bit of support. Everybody needs a cheerleading team. It can be really lonely being self-employed, and it can be really lonely on a one-woman mission. You know, I don't have Aaron and Faith's father here going batting it out with me, going through paperwork with me, helping me putting things together. And I'm getting really pissed off as well with a lot of people who are not actually listening to what I'm saying, because at the end of the day, I put my head above the parapet because I knew that Aaron and Faith were taken in a bigger problem than anything that I could have fixed myself. I knew this. You know, please do remember, back in 2013, nobody got their fucking kids back from an adoption order, mate. Nobody. We've overturned adoption orders. You know, babies have been returned, children have been returned, many children have been returned. No, the parents have not got the help that they needed. I would love to meet somebody who says social services were the best thing ever. You know, even my own, don't want to get personal, but even with my own family dynamics, you know, there are other people within families and stuff like that. And what I don't like is that, I don't even want to get into it, it's not my place, not my story, but you know, no parent should be alienated from a child, and no child should be alienated from their parent, because what it does is it grows people up to be false representations of themselves. They will never ever be their true self. It's impossible. Have you pooed, have you?
Yeah.
Oh, is Daddy there to change your nappy, or do I need to do it? I very much doubt. We'll see. Should we see? I'll probably do. And you cannot be your true 100% self. One, in the wrong environment for you. This is the wrong environment for me. It is. Oh, is John going to grab me a nappy and a baby wipe then?
I was hurting.
Mm-hmm. I've got another banana here if you want it. Go and get a nappy and a baby wipe and go and give them to Daddy in a minute and say Mummy's nearly finished. You cannot be, if you're in the wrong environment, you need to get in the right environment. And if you know yourself, you will know what it is that you need around you, what fulfills you, what, you know, and you have a choice. This is the thing, you have a choice. You can literally say, I want to go and live in Bali. You know, yes, there will be some minor obligations to committing to, you know, that and understanding, but you can make the decision to do that. It's okay, and that's fine. You know, you can say you want to live in the States. It could just be in the UK and you want to be in the country yet you're in the city, or you want to be in the city and you want to be in the country. We have those choices. It's about actually having the time to take time out of your life and go, okay, I'm not quite sure if this is where I truly want to be. You know, it's like a home. If you don't like your kitchen, change it. You know, if you find that the dynamics and the dimensions are not the right size, you can't fit it in that kitchen and you need a bigger space to achieve that, then do that. You know, if it needs redecorating, then do that. Yes, there is investment and time and money and resources in things, but if you're not living in the rat race, going to work to pay your bills, and you're actually living in a purpose-driven living, then all that encompasses anyway, and that becomes part of your lifestyle. And it's something that I need to resonate with and be in that zone, in that frequency, in that energy. I am in such a dark world, and today, being that it's Diwali Day, I'll probably not pronounce that right, you know, it is about being the light, being in the light. It is about, you know, coming out of that dark, coming out of that horrible place, whether you've been in depression, suppression, you've been in trauma, you're trying to prove to people that trauma, you're constantly in that energy of trauma. You know, people go through relationships that have been, you know, catastrophe because they just weren't compatible, and they've tried to force a relationship, and then it's ended up in what society calls domestic violence, and then then they carry this on and they live their lives constantly projecting and proving what they've been in, and they can't clear themselves out from that relationship, and then they take it into the next relationship, and you will never have a healthy, stable relationship. You're always going to be in resistance with the person that you're trying to have a relationship with, which is going to clash, and then they're going to point fingers and go and I hate watching this happen. I hate seeing so many couples out there that just need to read Men Are From Mars, Women From Venus, and understand that we are different. We're not fucking equal. There is a power control thing with females and male energy and frequency. Yes, women need to be in their true feminine essence, and yes, males need to be in their natural masculine energy. Two are very different energies, two are very different frequencies, but they are compassed together as one. And we're not meant to be out shagging left, right, and centre with this one and this one, because every penetration that you have leaves a DNA within yourself. But we're not taught this. I don't remember at school, other than science on certain levels, and doing acid and alkaline and energy as an outsider thing. But we weren't taught that energy was us, that we are energy, that this is energy, that this is energy, that this is energy, and that light and dark will always exist. There has to be balance. There has to be polarity. You cannot not have polarity. There will always be on, off, in, out, up, down, hot, cold. There will always be a reverse of something. And that's exactly the same as us. We sometimes are the complete reverse of who we are meant to be. And we can bring our service into something that doesn't serve us, and we can live a very obligated life. And many people get trapped in jobs for years and years and years because they just don't feel that they can financially change that or come out of that, or even know what it is that they want to do, because they don't know any different. We've got generations above us that went straight out of education, straight either into the army or into some form of service, be it carers, cleaners, and things like that. And people took up their thing, but they never got to know who they were. That's not their fault. But we're different now, and we have evolved. And what was really funny is, I think it was an XR interview or something like that. The person was saying to them, so you think that our grandparents had it easier than us, do you? And they couldn't answer. And it's like, you fucking idiots. Do you really think that we have it harder than our grandparents? Really? Being shipped off and put onto trains, and children taken in a much more horrendous way than we were. Having to do washing, from hand washing and twin tubs, and being out there on a daily basis, scrubbing as you step outside, and constantly with your brush, no hoover, no washing machine. Seriously, we had to raise children with no washing machines and hoovers and sweep our floors and things like that back then. And I say we, I'm talking about, if you could imagine having to live like that now. Benefit system back then, they would knock on your door, they would come in, they would look around your property, they would go, we will buy that off you, we'll buy that off you, there's your money, fantastic. And if you eventually end up with absolutely nothing that is worthwhile selling, then they would give you a voucher to be able to come down and get things. This entitlement world that we exist in now, where people are whinging that so-and-so gets more. I hear people with no fixed abode whinging that people in properties get more money off them. Yes, because that's their rent payment that you don't have, because you've not got one. If you were in rented accommodation, they would add that on. So they all get 200 and something pounds. Was it 274 or whatever it is every it's month now, not every 2 weeks, a month. And it is a month. You don't get those payments every 2 weeks now, mate. And it's actually less. It's been like halved. And even finances as well. If you don't understand money, if you don't understand the polarity of energy and money within you, and I have this battle and struggle, and that's what I talk about. I have this over needs and wants, and I've talked about it before, being raised over you need it or you want it, and rejecting it all, and you know, coming to a place of learning to receive and learning to accept my blessings and learning to say thank you for things as people just give them to you. And you know, it's quite not easy. And also getting to a point where you can actually charge for your service, which is why I rather it in products. I don't like people to pay for my time. I prefer people to buy a product off me rather than pay for my time, because my time is so precious that you can't necessarily put a figure on it that, you know, it's minimum wage for an hour of my time, or £8.50 or whatever, or if I went to coach netball, what, 35 quid for an hour, or you know, whatever, up to the elites that completely understand the value of your time. That, you know, they might even charge you $1 million for an hour of their time because they know the importance of time. And we're not taught the importance of time. And that's what I'm telling you, that we're not given the gifts and the tools and the skills to live to our full potential. We are dumbed down, suppressed, knocked down, isolated, separated. They even want families to be working away from each other now. So they've even done it to Liam as well. Liam wasn't able to claim to live with me, and they said he had to move out and claim there. And now he's moved out. Now they're only contributing to it, but now he's completely fucked. You know, so wouldn't it have been better to have supported him at home with his mother? Just saying. But why would they want to do that? Why would they want to support the family unit? Now, there are people that do. Oh, where's that been?
It's wet.
Is it wet?
Wipe it out.
It's been, I think that's been down the toilet, hasn't it? Has it been in the floor? Maybe down the back of the toilet where the bath has come over in the water.
Yes.
Have you got the nappy and the baby wipes for Daddy? And actually, I'm going to come now anyway. Yeah, I'm going to come and sort you out now because Daddy's obviously so famous. You need people in your life who protect your space, who support and enable you in who you are and what you do. And if you don't have that, then it's okay to say, I don't need this person in my life. Yeah, but as much as you're doing that, it's not going over the camera because the camera's there. You can't do that just there. You have that's the camera there. So this bit here, if I put my finger over there, yeah? So that's the camera. So that's where that image is coming from.
Also on the camera.
Yeah, you've got your finger over it now. And again, you've got your thumb over it. You're blocking the camera. No, you're blocking the camera now. There you go.
Oh, not in the camera.
You're blocking the camera. Anyway, I can't have you in a pooey bum.
The camera. And what's this?
Dean, go and get Daddy for me. So yeah, so it's about waking up in the morning, waking up with complete your thoughts, your thinking, your energy, your frequency, getting up to do what you're inspired to do and what you love, rather than constantly being in this resistance of having to live this obligatory life and being a fraud your entire life, a fake, basically, not living a lie. It's living a lie. That's why I said to take masks off, and about being in your own true essence and your own true identity. I don't think we're ever going to come together in this country to be able to go out of the old and in with the new. We're never going to have that co-symbioticness, certainly at this particular point. It's so confusing and confabulating, and they have got it so switched at the moment. It's not good, and they really don't want you people being aware, because if this happens, say you all start tithing to your local council and they're not in control of that, that would be very difficult for them. If, say, the revolution went on to the level that it could do, because don't forget, Queenie lives here and the revolution is worldwide, and it's in the Commonwealth, because they're not happy with her control over the Commonwealth. So that's a lot of people. That's not just the UK, that's the Commonwealth. And they know that if all them people came in, hence why they want to pull the plans down.
That's the camera.
That is the camera.
And then
You need your haircut.
What's this about the
Yeah,
camera?
that's the blocking the camera. You want to say hello?
Hey, it's up the camera.
Don't shut the lid because you'll just switch it off. Where's Shiloh? Is he still asleep?
No.
And you have to stay up today, don't you? Because you've been knocked out of frequency with Dean coming back. And I'm being on time space. This one has been up at bloody 10, 11. In fact, last night at 1 o'clock. And he has not been going to bed because Dean's energy is very different during the day. It doesn't think about winding kids down.
Row the boat.
Row the boat. And trying to keep that routine with two people who live very different lives. I mean, he's usually on a beach in Spain, do you know what I mean? He's not here in Portsmouth or up in a mountain or a cliff or whatever. So, you know, is that great? No, Graham, bless Graham, got taken into hospital the other day. He was outside our window very drunk saying, please give me back my Kelly, give me back my angel, please give me back my angel, you can't have my angel. And the police removed him. I did go down and sort of say, but the police and ambulance removed him, and I couldn't get involved into the level that I usually am at this particular point. So I'm going to be checking on him in a minute. That's the camera. That is called Motion Eye on that laptop.
That camera, you press it. You press it.
I think Daddy's in. I think that's Shiloh up now. Is that Shiloh? Can I have a look? Is that Shiloh?
Look at the camera.
I think Shiloh's just woken up now, guys. So there's 9 minutes left, 8 minutes left. I can call it ahead. But yeah, that's what I need to do for myself right now. But it's also what my message is on this video, and I'll edit the thing. And I'm going to be moving over to YouTube purely because I need to be more in control of my stuff. And Amber uploads and puts it up onto YouTube, and I want to build that space and that energy in one zone. I'm going to miss it because over on YouTube you don't have the interaction in the same way, and I don't like the inside of the office on YouTube. And if I don't like something like that, it doesn't gel. That's like going and standing on a platform to speak and not liking it. So you have to, if you know your zone, you know your frequency. I do prefer being here. I find it a lot easier. The colours, I even love all the little hearts and the interactions and stuff, just so I'm not talking to myself. Over on YouTube, it's not necessarily like that. You're going to block my camera again. I want you to go and get a nappy and baby wipes because you really can't be in that nappy. If you want to put your thumbs up, you have to look at that camera. So my hand's there. There's my thumb. Look. So there, away from the camera. Yeah, camera can't see you. There. That's it. Put your thumb up. Right. Well, we haven't got any time left now, actually. We're going to go to shopping, but it's 4 o'clock on Sunday now, so the majority of the shops would have closed by now. And I've got to try and really get into proper zone tomorrow, this week, because we're moving into Elijah. This up here, I shall show you quickly. So this is what I'm preparing for next week. Well, no, it's a bit later than that. So I'm preparing for Parliament Week, and this here is going to get redesigned to fit the slavery that we, these individuals, we don't have peanut butter. That's butter. Leave that butter there, darling. And then obviously this has got. Yes, you can have some toast, but you can give me my time in a minute. And I have. I've just talked to my badges. New badges have just come out for Parliament Week because I can actively stand up and do my own Parliament Week, asking people to get involved in government and talking about what they. Yeah, you can have those. What we need to be talking about. I'm not going to be in a position. It's not going to happen. I just don't have the support here to do that, and I don't have the support system around my kids. Things may change, things may come together in little bits. I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. I don't know what next Friday's going to bring. I don't know what this afternoon is going to bring. Anything can happen in the next hour or two, who knows? You can change that energy or frequency whenever you like. Do you know what I mean? And as soon as you understand how energy works and frequency works, and not only that, but your own actual proper neutralness, and yeah, so that's sort of my message for today, really. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be doing a lot of dump it, do it, delegate it, and a lot more boundary setting, and a lot more protection of my own energy and my own space and my own time. And I'm not going to be so patient now with fault and screwing things up. I have every right. I'm a boss, yes, and I'm a boss of a business. And if my staff and team are not working to the standards that they need to work at, whether paid, voluntary, or paid, I have every right to fire and hire. I can give people allowances, I can help people grow, and I don't mind doing that. But if I had not been so lenient with this, then we probably would have been further forward. And if I had more control over the trolling that comes in, people like me have paid trolls around us. So always remember, if you see somebody gaslighting around me, rather than getting in it and going, I know, did you hear she did this and she did that? Then ask yourself, why are they doing this? What intention are they getting from this? And actually go, this is gossip, this is gaslighting, this is potentially, it might even be a fake account or something like that. And then obviously, you know, a lot of people like to troll between me and Dean. They don't see as well that when he's giggling his head off when he's on Twitter, by the way. He'll get video through, and he cannot cope with all this transgender parents forcing children to transgender, like mental. And he rants about it, calls people all sorts that want to do that. But you have to actually look at what he's posting on. You just see the post, you don't see what he's commenting on and stuff like that. So you know, energy is all over the place at the moment. But when it comes to individuals who have physical conditions, then we need to be enabled. I don't want to be disabled. I don't want someone coming into my life telling me what I can and can't do. I want somebody to be coming into my life and going, this is what your ambitions and dreams are. This is where the gap is, and we're going to help you close that. The system's never going to do that for somebody like me. So I have to be financially independent. I have to get my book out. I have to get things moving forward. In fact, there's a couple of people here who've got books, and I could just do with some software ideas just to keep me in that mainframe, writing and pulling all this in. And I really don't care what my parents feel about this anymore. I have put my foot on the brake because I haven't wanted to upset. I haven't wanted to offend. There's been people that I don't have the right to talk about them, but at the end of the day, you know, you can be a positive influence in that, or you can be a hindrance in that. So Dean just checking who's on there. So it either like comes together in the way that it should come together, or not come together. I don't know. So in terms of Step Up Britain and being in position and all of that, I don't know. Somebody could turn around who's been watching all of this and gone, oi, 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 you know, we do need you speaking on the media. We do need you. There is a way that we can work around your gag at this particular point. But I just don't think there is any way to work around my gag, because not in terms of me. I can say what I want. Aaron, Faith, kidnapped, PC, Stephen Lewis, and Cheryl Osborne and Carrie Larn and District Judge Andrew Shaw are a bunch of kidnapping cunts from Flintshire County Council, stolen from Myers Hospital in Wrexham in a Volvo, driven by a one and only, I can't remember her name actually, because I don't usually give her shit. She was just actually doing her job, but Carrie Larn was a big problem, and Cheryl Osborne. So Cheryl Osborne was the main person, who just happened to be at the UPW and National Achievers Congress in 2012, funny enough. And I have the ticket and evidence with her name on it that proves that she was there. She has an account on our records. I've had her address for years, so I'm not bothered about that sort of stuff. She still lives in Flintshire. I know exactly where she was living at that particular point. Don't know if she's moved now, but yeah, a little bit funny that, isn't it? That I happened to be in the media in 2010, It just so also happens that I Will Challenge Britain was on the same page as an adoption agency. And sometimes I have to maybe ask, maybe did somebody out there already earmark my children, and maybe it was part of the setup, because those two police officers that came to my door told me a nice story about this gentleman around the corner who I've actually interacted with, and I have told him, no, he can't talk to me the way he is. They're telling me that he has dementia. I'm telling them I don't care whether he's got dementia, autism. He is not allowed to tell me that he wants me to come home with him, if a dick. But apparently he has had a young girl in there who has been having sex with him and has been, you know, stealing and doing stuff. And they sort of came and told me, be careful, Kelly, because, you know, there's a few other things. So I took that as a, yeah, we can say whatever we like about you, and we can probably cause you a lot of aggro right now. But they were all right. They didn't realise Dean was in the house. That was fine. What have you got? Hello. They've got little pricky things on them badges. So anyway, guys, there's my hour for my live. And yeah, so that's what my theme is going to be pretty much this week, is to be you, and it's up to you. And I'm going to be doing the same thing, working on my milestones, working on moving me forward, helping my healing happen quicker. I'm never going to have the life that I want. I should never ever say never, but the fact is, without some form of proper therapy with my mum and my dad, that's never, it is just not an option. And I've got too many women in between me and my father that, you know, cause issues. And my family, my nans were the glue. My nans were the glue of the family on both sides of my family. My nan on my dad's, she was the glue of our family. She was the reason that we all come together. And on my mum's side as well, it was my nan. And without my nans, I don't think, some of my families all have individual families that are all close. They're all close within their own units, but we're not close as a you know, the uncles and aunts, the brothers, and what they are. And and you know, yeah, which is a shame. So I need to completely now eradicate that. That isn't happening. I'm not going to be sitting down with my mum and dad this Christmas. It's not going to happen, and they're certainly not going to be turning up at my birthday next year. You know, in fact, I'm quite happy that they don't want to be in my life, really, because they can't be in my life knowing me in my true identity. They can only be in my life with their little glasses on that are looking at 11-year-old kids that's attention seeking. And too fucking right. Yeah, you weren't fucking listening. I'm trying to tell you somebody is raping me on a daily basis and being raped on the streets. I'm trying to tell you I miss my dad and my mum, and it's all confusing, and I don't want all these other people in our lives right now. I'm still trying to work out where the fuck my mum and dad has gone, you know, let alone that now all of a sudden both of them have got different partners and all that sort of stuff, which is just too confusing for a child. So to you mums out there that do that leave relationships and then bring another person into your life like that, you're fucking your kids up. You are fucking your child up. And I will tell you, I am a fuck up from that one exact thing, and many other children are. I have also been a mum who's gone from one relationship to another. It doesn't work for your children. You cannot keep bringing different relationships and different people around your children. You cannot do that. It was a bit different. I took a different perspective. I learned from each one of the relationships around them. They might have had a different hobby or a different skill, and I've been able to accomplish that and use that as a way of achieving more in terms of that I probably wouldn't have done if I just had mum and dad. And I've never really had that because I was with my dad with my ex-stepmom, and then I was with my mum with the first boyfriend, and then the next husband, and then the next husband, and I didn't really see much of the other stuff going on in between. You know, children need their identity. It is so important, because otherwise you're going to be repairing adults, and adults are going to be suffering with mental health and depression because you've raised them to be a fake of themselves. I don't want to be a fraud of myself, and I know what I love and what I'm about. Yes, it's going to mean I'm going to have to learn the violin, but I do play shadow violin in the house. I love it. It just bursts my
joy, my bundle of light. I love listening to it. I've loved watching that, you know, and it's just a part of what I'm about. But for me to take Shiloh and put Shiloh in an environment that is not conducive to who he is, and the more that I watch these kids that are doing it, and I'm not willing to listen to people telling me that I shouldn't be allowing my nearly 2-year-olds to skateboard. You know, I've seen people achieve this. There is an amazing, beautiful girl who's out there at the moment traveling and stuff like that. And my social media is going to change. We know what the core problem is. Now, people need to recognize that, deal with their own trauma, and I need to be putting out all the positive stuff. There's going to be a lot of you that don't like it. You will resist all positivity stuff from them. And I know this through my algorithms. The reason that I use a public page is so I can monitor my algorithms. I know if I put something out, you'll all go, ah! And as soon as I put anything positive out, you just ignore it because you're not in that frequency. And that's why I say sometimes I'm going to say goodbye to some people because you're going to drop off of my frequency. And some people are going to, new people are going to come in as that frequency changes for me as well. Please do, you know, check out a guy called, what's his name? Something Peterson. Jordan Peterson, I think it is. I'll have a double check. And listen to him. He makes a lot of sense. He knows what he's talking about. He gets it. All the things that we're not taught. So just realise you didn't get the proper toolbox. Some of you might have done, but you didn't get the proper toolbox. You've never had that toolbox. Without that toolbox, you can't build that house. Simple as that. Without the equipment and tools, it just can't be done. Yes, the Lord will qualify the unqualified, and he will bless in other ways, and he will show that David and Goliath really is a true situation. But the fact is, you need people around you who are on the same mission as you. And if they are pulling you off path, then you have to say, I'm sorry, you have to get out of my car. I know you're a really nice person. I know that, you know, it's not about the fact that I hate you. It's just the fact that we are not in co-symbioticness with each other. You have your path, you have your way to go, and this is my way. And if our paths cross over, I'll always be polite and say hello to you. And we might even have a coffee. We might even go for a meal and catch up. If not, it's a smile and wave. We may be aware of each other, but we are not on the same frequency as each other. We may be wanting the whole same thing, but it's like all the ships sailing on the ocean. You know, you can't, you can toot and wave, but you can't always, the ship's not always going in the same direction. Do you know what I mean? So I need to go in the right direction for me, not for my admin, not for you guys, not for the people trying to pull me in one direction or get my attention over here. I need to go in the right direction for me. And if along that path we cross and we come together, brilliant, we'll be respectful to each other. And who knows, there may be friendships that move into, you know, going to the gym together, spending time. And I may even get people like yourselves out there that do want to join into our sponsor sort of challenges, that do want to come out mountain climbing and jumping off cliffs and out of aeroplanes and sponsor to help families stay together. And we might have a group of us that become colleagues with each other because we're all, you know, Mackenzieing or helping people or advocating for people in court. But then that's where our relationship ends. Do you know what I mean? You don't come home with me and have coffees and dinners and teas. We just, you know, we are able to serve on that particular level. And those boundaries are so important, and scheduling your life is so important. If not, you're just waking up in a void to get up to live somebody else's dogmatic life that wasn't for you. So anyway, I'm going to shoot off. Dad's still not changed nappy. I'm going to go and change my son's nappy. He's been in it way too long. So catch you up later, and please just be you. Be your own true identity. And if you don't know what it is, go find out. It'd be really exciting. I'm coming now. I'm going to change it.